Welcome to the podcast of disaster. I am LordM, and today I'm with my co-host.
Courte 437.
And today we have OC Talk. Today's episode is one important because today we have.
Hi, I'm Delta. Been in the Sonic fandom for quite some time, and I decided to bring my OCs to the talk today.
Welcome. Uh, is I'm glad. I mean, we glad to have you here. Talking about
Mm-hmm.
your OCs.
Yeah, talk should be here.
All right. I guess we can start with the questions. What are the names?
So I brought three OCs with me today. There's Gamma Scrapjaw, Evelyn Scrapjaw, and Ash Verglass.
Ooh. Uh, Let me see in OC applications. Oh yeah, the two Sonic Forces characters and who is the other one?
The third one's Ash.
Ash. Oh, they you really good. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I didn't draw any of them. The third one is from a pick crew that I found a while back that I recently updated the look for. But the other two are just straight up from the Sonic Forces engine. I do need to get on drawing them. I'm just kind of lazy at the moment.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nowadays is hard to either find time or get the inspiration to do the stuff.
yeah, it's more so I just suck at drawing, so I usually end up getting mad like 5 seconds into trying to draw the head. I really do need to learn better drawing techniques, though.
And there is no shame to graph graph reference and draw over them to get a better hand on doing shapes and stuff like that. So if that
Yeah,
helps you to practice.
to that's how I got to my current art skill at least, was I just started off by just tracing Pokemon straight from a basically Pokemon Dex book for or just practice on general like look and stuff. Like I will say my art has come pretty far. Like I do have like a significantly better style now compared to before. Like if you look in the chat, I'm like about to send a piece that I drew last night to do with a campaign that I was in. It's definitely come a long way. It's just a matter of I need to learn how to draw like actual like references better, and B how to not get like that flat like two-dimensional pose kind of style.
Nice. All right, I guess we can move to the next question. Also, nice art in the chat right there. People should be seeing it in the
Thank you.
in the in the screen right now. Now, Court, will you do me the honors of the next question?
Wait, did we already ask what the names are?
Yes, we did.
Okay. So, what inspired you to make them?
So, what inspired me to make them was actually Sonic Forces, because I hadn't played a Sonic game or really been too active in Sonic's fandom in general for quite some time. And then when I had managed to pick up one of those 2-in-1 copies of Super Monkey Ball and Forces at Walmart on sale, I decided to play it and then remembered, wait, hey, I have this old Sonic OC that I literally have not done anything for in years, that I've had since I was like 13 and have done basically nothing with except have one friend draw a reference for them one time that is severely outdated now. So I decided, you know what? In Forces, I'm going to design them. And that ended up completely changing how I viewed the character, as not only has the character since their original creation changed species, but also gender, because Gamma was originally supposed to be a guy and a hedgehog. Yes, I know, cringe, classic, early 2010s era, everyone was going for the hedgehogs. But I redeemed myself by changing Gamma to be a wolf. And since then, I've actually done a lot. Evelyn, the other character that I made in Forces, I actually have a bit of lore for the two. They are actually canonically married right now,
Mary.
which is something. Yeah, it's not often you see people who just straight up get such hard brain rot that they design a literal cast of characters in Forces. But hey, Forces has a good character creation system, and I just happen to have the brain juices running. So yeah, I have an entire set of lore that I will not be going into too crazy because A, I don't have it figured out fully, and B, because it would take literally forever to go over it. But
Well,
so yeah, the two of those characters were inspired by Forces, and then around the end of my first to second playthrough of the game, because my save data got deleted by my little brother, so I had to restart the game to recreate the characters again.
oh,
I decided to make Ash. Ash is heavily inspired by what I wished Infinite was. Because in my first playthrough, I thought Infinite was cool as shit. And then on my second playthrough, I quickly realized no, he's just a fraud. He literally suffers from, oh, destined to fail. And it's basically the story of Ash is that Ash was a rare case of a human in Sonic, which I know older Sonic that doesn't seem too rare, but looking at like Sonic nowadays where humans are pretty much off limits, I'd say it's pretty rare, all things considered. And their childhood wasn't the greatest. And growing up, they sort of developed a split personality to try and protect themselves from others. And they ended up taking a liking to making machinery and inventions due to the fact that a machine isn't really going to betray you. It's not going to deliberately go out of its way to try and harm you. And so when Ash found out about Infinite and the Phantom Ruby, Ash wanted to recreate that. So Ash started looking for a version of the Phantom Ruby that they could build, eventually settling on a modified design, not capable of full-on reality warping like the Ruby, but not requiring a crazy power source at all times to be functional like it was in Forces. And this Ruby caused a sort of thing to happen where that split personality was able to be manifest physically. Now, that's a story for another day because I'm talking about specifically Ash here. I'm not going to get into the other personalities. But that is something to note. And that idea kind of came before I realized that I was writing a character that basically just had borderline personality disorder. So that was just kind of something that just happened, and then I realized, oh, I just gave my character something that I didn't even mean to. Oh well. So yeah, Forces basically just gave me like three pretty good characters that I still like to write lore about every now and then. I have a Google Doc that's actively in the middle of still being filled out because I keep forgetting to go do that and make changes as changes occur. But yeah, so as much as Forces is hated, hey, I got 3 OCs out of it, and then some.
well, that was unexpected. Speaking, I mean, I I did got an OC of Forces too, but it's basically undercooked. It's always just bare bones. But I'm glad that you got 306 out of that game. And since you mentioned in lore, that's about the next question. What is their lore? If you can share some
So
of it.
So I've gotten into a bit of Ash's lore. So before I continue with any more deep diving to that, I'm going to go into Gamma and Evelyn's lore first. Gamma grew up in just a small village. It wasn't much. And then around, I don't really have a specific year because I don't really know the Sonic timeline very well. All I know is that the war broke out in Forces, and because Gamma was my player character during Forces, I decided, you know what? Gamma's going to be an active fighter in the war against Eggman. So Gamma was fighting and came across Infinite and basically started a whole rivalry against him, which usually didn't end too well, but a fight's a fight. But after the war, Gamma actually just went back to fighting, decided to give up the Quiet Life Village life and say, hey, there's still trouble out here. I'm going to try and keep people safe. And along the way, Gamma met Evelyn, a bounty hunter who at the time was actually working for Eggman under a contract. And after a couple battles, Evelyn realized, hey, wait, maybe I'm fighting for the wrong people here. Money's money, sure, but is it really worth causing this much pain and anguish to people who have done nothing wrong? So, after some time of thinking, Evelyn finally left her crew and left Eggman's contract in favor to fight against Eggman. And after a year or two of that, the two of them got married. I haven't really written much farther than that for just general lore for them, but Ash's lore kind of does extend a bit farther in the general timeline of what I have somewhat thought of. Like I said, Ash creates a sort of uh, fake Ruby to try and recreate what Infinite had. However, that kind of backfires at one point when, due to unspoken circumstances, all I can put so far is fight gone wrong because I've not fully thought that part out. Uh, Ash ends up losing their memory entirely. And from that, a entirely new personality does show up to temporarily fill the role until that memory is restored. And other than that, Ash actually uses the ruby in a weird kind of way because rather than trying to use it to disorientate enemies in a local sort of sense of like, oh hey, like I'm gonna make you quickly like hallucinate something, Ash decides, you know what, I'm gonna use that and just manifest stuff to just straight up be weaponry. More so like using like swords or like explosions using it rather than it's just like, oh hey, I'm gonna make like the world turn upside down. And because of being able to do that, Ash kind of developed a sort of strange fighting style that sort of resembles just like a wild animal just going loose. But that's about all the general lore. I don't really have them too fleshed out yet. I still, like I said, have to go and continue writing their stories because I have not done that in a while.
That's that's a young lore. I'm
Yeah.
still processing.
Yeah, it does sound a bit dry after hearing myself say it, but to be fair, that is also a lot considering I am also pretty much pretty often toying with different ideas and adjusting things, so it's technically a lot more than it sounds like.
All right, I guess. Uh, Court, I guess it's your turn for the next question.
Do they have any family members?
Ash does not. Ash is the only person left in their family. Gamma has her parents still alive, and Evelyn's family is just nowhere to be seen. They're, as far as anyone knows, still alive, but have been missing for quite some time. No one knows really where they are.
But also they got. At least they have each other.
Yeah, at least they do have each other. That is a fair point, yeah.
Speaking of having each other, uh, what is their favorite thing to do, like food or activities? Of course, of the three OCs.
Well, Gamma really likes to go on long runs and adventures. Like, Gamma is very much the adventurous type. Evelyn just really likes a good fight. Evelyn will tag along with the sole purpose of, oh, hey, if something happens, I will literally curb stomp someone for you. And will, like,
Damn.
have no second thought about it.
Oh damn.
Ash is kind of a weird one because Ash is kind of hard to describe in that sense, because Ash didn't really have a way to develop any sort of meaningful attachments to things growing up. So I guess for Ash, it would be developing new machinery and stuff, ways of trying to fit into society, to try and be somewhat normal in a world where they just don't fit in.
And why are their favorite food?
Fit. Ash just eats whatever Ash can find. They generally aren't really picky. As long as it's not like something like absolutely disgusting, Ash will pretty much eat it without a second thought. Evelyn actually likes spaghetti a lot, and Gamma really likes tuna melts. Tuna melts are like Gamma's go-to.
Oh, well that's actually pretty good. Not gonna lie. I'm sorry if I if I'm seeing my little off because I'm trying trying my best. I'm kind of nervous for some reason.
It's all right. It's all right. I understand.
I should be used to for this. Uh,
Do
Court, can you do the next question?
they have any transformations or powers?
So for Ash, it's pretty self-explanatory. Ash has a sort of dialed-down version of the Ruby, so basically anything small-scale the Phantom Ruby could do, Ash could do. Obviously, none of that Majora's Mask nonsense, dropping the sun on things, but Ash could, like, say, like, create, like, small rifts that could, like, make people, like, end up in spots or, like, mess up people's orientation or, like, mess with individual smaller objects or, like, individual people's gravity temporarily. But Ash mostly uses it as a weapon system, being able to, like, use it for weird attacks. It does come in handy considering that an enemy really can't do much against an attack that they can't really predict what's going to happen with. Because, like, if they block a sword strike, it could just, like, extend and, like, try to snap backwards at them from around the shield. Like, it doesn't really do much. So, that's kind of one of those things. Gamma and Evelyn actually have a sort of super form adjacent ability slash transformation that doesn't use rings or emeralds, but rather uses collective wisp energy. So like if they can gather up enough wisps, they could get a super adjacent form based around what wisps are by them. Obviously, the most powerful being if they have wisps of every type. But just a couple wisps of like one or two types, like maybe about 50 of one or two types would be enough.
Hmm.
But like those forms usually depend on the wisps that are gathered. So like if let's say Gamma collected like a set number of ivory wisps, like Gamma would have an ability that basically matches that. Easiest way to describe it is like think the wisp powers from Sonic Colors. It's basically that, but like a full-blown transformation rather than like a temporary like short burst of an ability.
Yeah, I can see it. I can see it. Um, are they, I are they very like strong compared to a super form, or they are not that strong?
I'd say against like Super Sonic or Super Shadow, they definitely be able to hold their own depending on what wisp types they have with them. Because it fluctuates between what wisp types they have with them when they go to that form. It could fluctuate from they're not doing anything to them to, oh, they're like actually like giving them a fight of their life.
Mm, I see. I see. I see. And speaking of giving a fight of their wives, do they have a job?
Yes and no. Gamma and Evelyn do technically have a job, being that they basically are freedom fighters, so they do go around fighting, sort of like how the Resistance did, although they're not technically affiliated with any groups. Well, the no part though comes from Ash. Ash is just sort of there. Ash just does whatever they want. So if they feel like attacking somewhere, they do it. If they feel like saving someone, they do it. They just do whatever they decide. They're basically just, oh, hey, yeah, I'm going to just do whatever my emotions tell me to do. I don't care.
Hmm. Well, at least they can sustain themselves. Some of them, and like the other who's
Yep,
broke might end up being broke.
fair enough.
All right, Court, will you take care of the next questions?
Are they connected to, or do they know somebody from the canon history of the Sonic verse?
Well, yes, I guess that's a pretty easy one to answer compared to all the others. Gamma literally was my avatar during my playthrough, so Gamma pretty much knows everyone in the Freedom Force. Like Gamma knows pretty much everyone from the war. Evelyn does have direct ties to Eggman. Gamma also knows Infinite. Uh, Ash Ash just kind of has loose ties to most characters, having had run-ins with them at some point for one reason or another. Because I mean, like, if you're basically just walking around with a Ruby, you knock off and causing trouble whenever you see fit, yeah, you're obviously going to run into Sonic or Eggman or Shadow or somebody at some point. Like, you're obviously going to cross paths with someone at some point.
Let's see. So, so do they know more people like after the war and stuff like that?
Uh, Evelyn does get to somewhat know a lot of the people that it's Gamma knew from the war after the war happens, but like Ash basically just meets everyone from like from like after the war, so pretty much Evelyn's the only one who like meets a bunch of new people. It's mostly just like you three just run into people, well, other than like the ones in the war afterwards. like just like general run-ins and stuff.
Hmm. I see. I see. Uh, well, we have the next question. Which one of them you already responded since your characters are in love. But what do they have? Do Ash has a love interest?
Ash does not. Ash
Oh,
just floats. Ash hasn't really made a meaningful connection with other people yet. I do have a character I'm going to write in that does at least develop some sort of connection with Ash and their other personalities, but I have not gotten to that yet. So currently, no.
all right. Uh, then next question. Wanna take this one, Courte?
Do any of them have rivals or enemies?
Yes, actually. Evelyn kind of developed a rivalship with Sonic after the war because it was like, oh hey, this guy is like the go-to hero. I want to like try and like make people know who I am when it comes to needing help, so people actually have options and not just, oh hey, let's be scared entirely until that Hedgehog arrives. And Evelyn just straight up hates Eggman's guts after working with him and seeing like just how bad he actually was. Because like Evelyn was like in it for the money, and then like after like realizing, wait, these are innocent people. These aren't just like people who like are like directly affecting him. These are like just like random citizens who have done nothing to him. Ash just kind of hates everyone. Ash just is like, I hate you. You didn't show like you didn't show friendliness in like the first encounter. I hate you. Go away. Ash just does not tolerate people.
He got his own agenda.
Yeah, he's basically like, if you ain't with me, you're against me. He's just that kind of mindset.
Well, speaking of mindset, uh, do do your OCs have fan art? And if they do, can you share them?
Uh, Specifically, Evelyn does. Only
Ooh.
Evelyn. Yeah. Uh, it's a bit of a funny thing to try and explain because uh Ash goes through a lot of redesigns just randomly. Gamma had reference art but for the redesign, so I don't really think that counts because the design has changed so wildly it's almost a different character. But Evelyn does have fan art, which I will send right now.
I mean, even if it is from a past design, it still counts. Don't worry.
Yeah, I don't even know if I have Evelyn's original, not Evelyn, Gamma's original design. I can check, but like I doubt it. Yeah, I don't. I checked the folder where I keep most of the references and stuff. I don't have the original art. But I do have that fan art, which is fan art of one of the outfits that I designed Evelyn to have back when I first designed her in Gamma. That one of my friends on Discord, Sushi Weeb, drew. And yeah, it's pretty cool art. It's pretty cool art.
Oh, she look cool. I love the clothing and the shape.
Yeah, I will say it's definitely better than most of my art, that's for sure. I could not hit poses and shit like that. It's nice to see the actual like
Relatable.
depth.
Relatable, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, like compare this to like the art I drew, which was like literally like I think last night for the D&D campaign I just went through, which was a nightmare, like a good kind of nightmare, but still a nightmare to say the least. Yeah, it's definitely night and day of like, oh hey, like yeah, flat versus posed. But yeah,
Alright.
that's like pretty much the only fan art they have so far.
Alright. Then I guess we can move to the next question. And the yes. Court, will you do the honors?
How do you want their stories to end? Like, do you want them to have a happy ending or what?
Yeah, we say I plan for their endings to be relatively happy. I definitely plan for like when Evelyn and Gamma eventually do pass, like for them to have like lived like a full life. I personally don't know how specifically Ash's story is going to end. All I know is that Ash is definitely not going to have a typical sort of story in the sense of like, oh hey, like normal like sort of life. Ash is definitely going to be like, oh hey, I lived way past my time. This like you know how like everyone like depicts like Shadow living to like the future timeline where Silver is in. I like plan for Ash to like at least reach that timeline due to like just issues with the Ruby messing with lifespan. But I definitely plan to make it by those later years that it Ash does at least start to crack the shell and at least become a more lighthearted person rather than a hardened, if you aren't with me, I'm going to literally shove you away kind of deal.
Well, we hope they have their best life in the future then. Because I got interested in the lore even though I got lost for a bit. And I wish
Yeah, I
to
will say the
go ahead.
I will say the lore is not properly structured, and there's definitely a lot of key events I should slot in that aren't really anywhere currently. But it is, yeah, it is a bit of a story to say the least.
Speaking of story, uh, I have one last thing, and probably the audience also. Do you have any socials where we can see your stuff?
Yeah, I do actually. I have Twitter, Blue Sky, Twitch channel, although I've only done one stream on there, and you probably won't be able to find the VOD because it's been months. And a YouTube channel, which I actually am probably going to post on in the near future. If you want, I can link them.
Sure, sure. They should be on the screen right now, showing up.
All right, just grabbing their links.
All right. They should be showing up in the screen right now. Uh, Before we leave, do you have anything to say to the audience?
Yes, I do. Never give up on an OC, no matter how old. Trust me, you will always come back to that design at some point and rework them into something else. I guarantee it. Doesn't matter how old and how
That's
cringe.
something I need to hear
Always
for sure.
save them. I literally have not changed my original OC from my email. I am not joking. That is, I still have that cringe old version of Gamma as my email to this day. Never change, never scrap an OC. They will always come back.
Yeah, I can relate to that, but I will show it later. Uh, Courte, do you have anything to say to Data or to the audience before we close the video?
Not really. I mean, thank you for being here. It was nice, getting to interview you, ask you some questions about your characters, and we definitely learned a lot about them. So yeah, thank you for telling us about your characters.
Yeah, thank you
We're
for
glad to
having
have
me.
had you here.
Yeah, thank you for coming up here and sharing about yourself and your little goobers. And I hope the audience also have a nice time in watching this video and getting know more about you and your OCs.
Yeah, I will say too, if you're ever, if anyone in the audience or either of you is ever interested in hearing more about my OCs, Sonic or otherwise, I do quite often post art updates or just random snippets of OC lore and stuff on my Blue Sky and my Twitter. Not so much on my Twitter, but if you go to my Blue Sky, you will find a lot of that.
Yeah, they should be showing up both in the screen and in the description, your socials, even your YouTube channel, so people can go and stalk you there.
Yep.
All right. This has been OC Talk, and it's time to close this episode. I'm LordM,
I'm Courte 437.
And
and we
I'm Delta.
hope, and there is Delta, and we hope all of you have enjoyed this video, and we see you all next time. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
See ya.